I've known for a while that what I'm supposed to do is I'm just supposed to leave it all in the past and I'm supposed to move on. I'm supposed to acclimate to and incorporate all of these new things I've been exposed to for the last 4 years, especially while I've been on the streets for 3 years. And so, one of the things I've learned is that if you're in some other level of government, then what you got to do is you got to get yourself a personal in. And sometimes that can be in the form of getting your name on the report that somebody else files. Or it could be you file a legal filing the same day as another case that actually gets played, so you follow that case. Or it could be that you agree to do a sales rep job for somebody that's got a license. And even though they're not going to actually sponsor you to get a license, they got all these other deals going. And if you meet with somebody out in the field and you get that sale, you might be able to get a job and get an in for yourself to start selling some things as well. And I don't know, I think on another level, if you got certain skills and expertise, if you kind of like keep it on the down low and you craft your own little mystique around it and you create your own little profile, that doesn't even matter if your documents are legit. It doesn't even matter if what you're doing is correct. The only thing that makes a Ponzi scheme illegal and then makes another Ponzi scheme legal is if you're able to actually get the money to cover the overnight. If you're able to get the money to cover the overnight, your Ponzi scheme doesn't get busted. The only ones that get busted are the ones that, in the whole larger matrix of things, need to get busted because somebody figured out in their fucking ratios a long time ago that somebody has to get busted in order to justify expenditures for lawyers and prosecutors and cops. Now, if you're actually trying to apply the Constitution and you're actually trying to do something to balance out the proliferation of crime so that things are safer for people, so that resources can get redistributed to people, so we in poverty, you're kind of shit out of luck. Okay? That's not how this hustle works. You got to understand that it is a Ponzi scheme. It's all a fucking Ponzi scheme. And what makes it illegal versus what makes it not illegal is, can you cover the overnight? Now, I understand. They've been trying to get me to understand this for years. I cover the overnight all the time. But because I need authentication and because I need to verify who it's for, because I really fucking hate it when a bunch of fucking party heads downtown, want to float a fucking really, really high risk deal connected to, like, I don't know, port safety in Libya. And then they want me to perform in isolation so they can take that, and if I cover it, then they can seal that fucking local deal, which has nothing to do with port safety in Libya, right? But port safety in Libya is contingent upon those guys downtown getting their fucking kickback. And I keep saying no. But you might be in a better position if you agree to say yes. What is the political aims of the time being right now? You want to defund the police? Do you know what the police actually do? You do understand that when the police go out into the field and they arrest people or they respond to calls, that what they're doing is working a very, very, very complex financial portfolio. And over the last couple of years, because the organized crime syndicates have been so thoroughly involved in saturating other aspects of the government and leveraging access to so-called military surplus in order to help hook up and proliferate the kickback scheme that is DOD and other kinds of federal contracts in other countries, which has been aided and abetted and expanded onto a new level with this program that Trump put in place to replace USAID last year. Nobody fucking talked about in America. And now we got fucking the CARES Act, where every damn thing in America and every small business entity is supposed to go for some sort of COVID-19 loan so that we can be put into the 20% of the federal hedge fund that's become the bloated bureaucracy of the Small Business Administration. Why? DOD contracts, man. Somehow you got to figure out how to fabricate the right certification that you can use to provide some sort of documentation that you can handle a high level security. Don't think security means guys in fucking Kevlar vests with their fucking automatic rifles and their fucking armored vehicles. That's like a one kind of security. That's the kind of security that, like, when you get that call up to fucking deal with that fucking overnight, they might end up getting the call up. And in some ways, some people have created a system where that's kind of like the mentality the police are supposed to have. If they can cover that window when that transaction comes up and they get out there in the scene and you cooperate and you give them the right metrics to hook up the code they need for their report to go in and make their quota, everybody gets paid. But if you miss that fucking quota, man, if you miss that quota, you know what you get? You get a Floyd. You understand? You're part of a global system. It's a brotherhood, man. You miss your fucking local quota, some guy's gonna get popped somewhere else. Now you want to defund the police, fine. Who's gonna take over that role? Do you guys in your movement already have the guys set up? Do you have those guys that have been on the streets fucking casing the fucking field in the city for the last couple of years? See, I was on the streets for 3 years in, 3 cities. I know there's good guys out there that could do that. But what happened is your friends in the Health and Human Services and your friends in the city administration, you know the guys that are talking about trying to get some leverage for their contract negotiations? Those guys that are trying to negotiate pension obligation? What they would do is take the business plans and would take the critiques of what had actually been experienced by those guys on the street and take it from them, put their name on it, and hook up a contract with what, HUD? HHS? With the understanding that if they leverage that for a couple of years, they're going to get the good stuff from the DOD. And let me tell you, I actually watched it, right? Literally, that fucking happened. I'm in Dallas now, and the woman who hooked up that food contract on me in Harris County was able to flip that stuff through her CDC connections. Man, they're good to go. And that's what you're trying to get, right? Just admit it. That's what you're trying to get. The whole problem this has had is the cops wouldn't admit that's what they were doing. The cops wouldn't admit that's what they were doing, and the mayors that were leveraging the cops' performance wouldn't admit that's what they're doing. Now, if you were able to get to the table at some point in time and get in on one of those coded conversations the mayor was having with the police commissioner, you might already know this. But I'm going to take it very freaking personally. I'm going to track what they do tomorrow with those bonds that were hustled on murdering my mother and my grandfather. And if you try to treat this situation the same as those cops,